Hi, so I thought I'd do a kind of like Halloweenish review. So it's not really yeah, it's horror, but it's more like psychological and thriller horror. And the book that I'm going to give a review of is Nailbiter, the compendium. So this is by Joshua Williamson writing, of course, who's gone on to bigger things um, with DC. He's basically like overseeing a lot of the DC universe at the moment, and it's got artwork by Mike Henderson on the art, Adam Guzowski on colours, and John J. Hill on letters and design. So this collects 30 issues of Nailbiter and the Nailbiter hack and slash crossover one shot, which is cleverly used as like a backstory of the main character. So Nailbiter is this guy here. So it's the name of this guy, and he's a serial killer. I'll just give you the brief synopsis on the back of the book. So, 16 of the world's most notorious serial killers were all born and raised in Buckaroo, Oregon, and the worst and most infamous being Edward Charles Warren, the Nailbiter. What is happening in this small town that has created so many serial killers? Joshua Williamson and Mike Henderson deliver a mystery that mixes Twin Peaks with the horror of Seven. Fans of Gideon's Falls, Something is Killing the Children, and The Walking Dead will enjoy this bloody drama. So it's only $49.99 for this. So it collects 31 issues. I love the compendium format. I know some people just say, "Oh no, it's got to be omnibus," but I hate omnibuses. I've got a few because it's the only way I can get some series. I just find them cumbersome. They're really heavy, uncomfortable to read. These you can have, like this book's got a lot. It's got easily over. Well, it's got 30-foot comics. It's got easily, must be pushing 1,000 pages. I think it's about 780, 800 pages, something like that. And it's really easy to hold. The cover's sturdy enough. It's got a bit scuffy because that's my fault because I dropped it. But yeah, the design of it is really sturdy. Paper's good quality, not too thin, not too thick. And yeah, I loved it. There's not many times. Sometimes with a graphic novel, I'll read a chunk and then I'll just set it aside and read something else, just as like just cleanse my palate a bit. But this one, I read it within a day and a half, I think, which is quite good for a book of this size. So basically, um, what initially you think is just going to focus on this serial killer here, Nailbiter, it's more about the town that he's in and the people of that town and the secrets and mysteries that they keep. So initially you think he's the big bad, but he ends up being they make him very endearing in a way. I'd love for Joshua Williamson to write a Joker comic because he managed to make somebody that you find very loathsome quite appealing, and in a way you can not sympathise, but you can understand what's made him the way he is. And it goes into his origins. The mystery of the town and the mystery of his origins basically covers the whole of the series, and it's a great reveal at the end. It doesn't feel like there's filler. There's lots of like mini vignettes. It's like they said with Twin Peaks or X-Files or things like that, where they'll have like an overarching mystery, but there'll be some other stories in between that ongoing mystery, and then they'll come back to the mystery, and that's what they do with this. So it looks into why there are so many serial killers in this town, what makes them the way they are, how the families of these serial killers cope with it, and one of the main characters is Sheriff. Oh, I forgot what she's called now. Um, oh yeah, Sheriff Crane. So that's Sheriff Crane, and she's got quite a bit of history with the main villain of the piece, Nailbiter, because they're all brought up in this small town, and loads of the families in this town have secrets. and there's a young girl in this town here who's quite pivotal to the plot. And again, I don't want to give too much away because the part of the fun of reading this series is she gets involved in the investigation of what the mysteries are of this town. But part of this fun of this series is picking away at the layers of the mystery. And there's another character here, this guy here, who's he comes over at the behest of his friend, who's an FBI agent, who's been looking into the mystery of this town to find out why there's so many serial killers. I've forgotten what he's called. Finch, that's it. And he's got a secret as well. There's a reason why, because it opens up with him sitting in a darkened room about to commit suicide, and this call from his friend basically stops him from doing that, gives him a reason to be, basically. But you find out as the story progresses quite quickly, actually, why he was in such a down and almost place of no return frame of mind. But yeah, so he's got quite a dark secret as well, but he manages to turn that around and use it to his benefit. So yeah, basically Nailbiter gets off. He manages to charm the jury, and he gets he doesn't get convicted of all these alleged crimes what he's committed. Where he's called Nailbiter because what he does, his thing is if he sees somebody biting the nails, they become his target, and he doesn't just bite the nail; he bites all the way down to there, and basically eats the fingers. Doesn't bother the rest of the body; it's just the fingers what he eats, and he feels sated. Then he feels like he's done what he's quashed that craving. But he's not the only serial killer that's around. In fact, he appears to be as much of a victim as the innocents, because a lot of the crimes and murders that are being committed aren't being committed by him, they're being committed by other people. He's actually wrestling with who he is, and he's trying to not necessarily be a better person, but just trying to change if he can, or to hold the beast at bay. And again, this is another plot point that works really well with his relationship with the sheriff. You find out that they've known each other since high school, and they've got a lot of history. So it is like Twin Peaks, where you've got all these characters who've basically grown up in this small town. None of them have left. They live in this small town, and they'll die in this small town. And the parents before them have lived here. And it's quite chilling. The art, I love the art. It's very Tony Moore kind of style artwork. It's quite bloodthirsty in places, but not excessive. Not like, say, Red Room. Oh, I forgot what that image one was. About the woman who did like a Red Room kind of thing. It's not like that. It's more inferred and hinted at, kind of like Silence of the Lambs, that kind of horror. But it is very horrific, and they don't shy away from it. But it's more in the descriptions, or it's in quiet scenes where there can be not much happening, and suddenly there's a scene, and you're like, oh my god. And so it keeps that. Josh Williams manages to keep that balancing act of having small town interest, having a mystery, and then just punching you between the eyes with a scene of sheer horror, and you're like, oof, and you've got to, and then it'll stop, and you've got to read the next chapter or the next issue. Yeah, and the artwork works well. I think if it was a more realistic artwork, it, say something like Mike Diodato, it wouldn't work. You'd lose some of the humour. The artist and the writer work perfectly, are so synchronised in telling the story, and you care for all the characters. There's some real scumbags in here, and there's some people you expect to hate, so you end up liking. But yeah, like I said, they do pages that make you want to read the next chapter straight away. Like here, so they always finish on like a really good cliffhanger end page. And as I said, it can get it can get graphic, but they do save it for really specific moments to jolt you awake almost. Um, but yeah, I love it. I love it's got a perfect blend of small town Americana with what you get with small towns, where you get the prejudices, the Bible thumping. Anybody who's different gets instantly assumed as being guilty, or you get assumed being guilty by association, just because who's in your family or who you're associated with, and it does it so well. It's got a very almost like a Stephen King kind of tone to it. Josh Williamson managed to write a story which is completely high concept. It's completely out there. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous story. It's a ridiculous comic, but he grounds it in this small town setting, so it doesn't feel ridiculous. You don't feel like oh, this is so far fetched, because it is completely balmy and far fetched. But it's so he writes it in such a way that you end up you throw caution to the wind and you think, yeah, I'm invested in this story. I'm willing to believe all the craziness that goes on in this. I believe that there could be a town like this, even though never in a million years there would be. And that's what makes it work so well. It is a perfect blend of horror, mystery, and crime fiction. I don't want to say any more because, like I said, the fun is exploring it yourself and discovering and unpicking the mystery. Because I thought, oh, it's him, or it's them, they're the ones who such and such, because you'll know what I mean when you read it. And most of the time I'm wrong. And the grand reveal at the end, you think, oh, yes, okay, so that's why, and that's why he's the big bad, and blah, blah, blah. And like I said, even though it's called Nailbiter, he's like the linchpin of the whole story. But then all the threads from him spread out and paint this bigger picture, and you realise he's not the big bad. There's people who are worse than him, and that's what it gets. That's what the story's about, exploring that mystery. So he ends up exploring the mystery, as well as the sheriff, and I forgot what he's called now, but the guy who's friends with the FBI profiler. Oh yeah, and something happens to his friend, the FBI profiler. That's another linchpin in the story, and I don't want to show you any pictures of that because that's the biggest reveal. You're like, I literally was. I was like, no. So yeah, characters change as well in this series. Things happen to them, what changes them, and they know they've changed and they're trying to fight it. And again, I can't tell you because part of the fun of it is finding out for yourself. So what I would say is it's a perfect read for leading up to Halloween. It's spooky enough, but it's not gore for gore's sake. It's a really good mystery. And I had a blast reading it. I sailed through it, and I don't do that very often with big chunky trades like this. I normally put them down for a bit and then pick them up again later on. I would give this an easy 8.5 out of 10. I got it for about £25, £26 at the time because I think they had a bit of a special offer. But I think now it goes for about £32 if you buy it in the UK. Like I said, in America it's $49.99. And yeah, I highly recommend it. Do yourself a favour and pick it up. Okay, bye.